We are taught from an early age that success, health, and happiness require friction. If you want to achieve a difficult goal, the accepted method is to rely on stress, late nights, and the sheer brute force of willpower. But psychologists point to a paradox in how our brains actually function, known as the law of reversed effort. When you try desperately to force an outcome, your efforts often guarantee failure. By exerting intense mental effort to solve a problem, you are simultaneously broadcasting a message to your brain that the problem is immense and unyielding. The struggle itself confirms the presence of an impossible obstacle. The legendary operatic tenor Enrico Caruso experienced this firsthand. Before performances, his conscious anxiety would escalate so severely that the intense fear actually caused the muscles in his throat to spasm and paralyze. His frantic attempts to will himself to sing only made the constriction worse. To break the cycle, Caruso would stand backstage and verbally command his panicked conscious mind, what he called the little me, to step aside, demanding that his deeper, irrational mind take control. He recognized that the mind's true creative engine does not respond to active panicked force. It operates almost entirely on passive surrender. Reaching our most difficult goals requires stepping away from the chaotic fight happening on the surface and learning how to access the autonomic, hidden systems operating below. Just beneath the surface of your immediate awareness lies the subconscious. It is a vast, silent, and incredibly powerful environment, and it exists for one singular purpose: to follow orders. Your conscious mind acts as the watchman at the gate. It is the rational, argumentative captain of the ship that filters incoming information, makes choices, and decides what is true and what is false. The subconscious is the blindly obedient engine room. Once the watchman accepts a premise as true, that signal is sent down into the engine room, where the machinery executes the captain's orders without questioning the logic, morality, or safety of the command. This creates a dangerous dynamic. The subconscious cannot engage in rational debate. It cannot differentiate between a passing anxiety, a morbid joke, and a literal, deliberate command. If your conscious mind dwells on the expectation of failure, the engine room receives that as a directive and begins lining up the biological and psychological variables to make it happen. This blind obedience extends far beyond abstract habits or moods. The subconscious dictates physical reality, a fact well documented in the early history of medicine and hypnotic suggestion. Between 1843 and 1846, long before the use of ether or chemical anesthesia, a Scottish surgeon named Dr. James Esdile performed hundreds of major operations in Bengal. His patients felt no pain and experienced mortality rates of barely 2 or 3%, solely because Esdale placed them in a hypnotic state and suggested to their subconscious minds that no infection or pain would develop. Your physical biology and your lived reality are not governed by objective truth. They are governed strictly by whatever instructions manage to bypass your conscious watchman. Think of the subconscious as an expanse of pitch-black, highly fertile soil. It acts indiscriminately on whatever seeds you happen to plant within it. This psychological soil already controls all of your vital autonomic functions. It regulates your heartbeat, the process of digestion, and the sympathetic nervous system, all without a single conscious thought. Because the soil is perfectly impartial, it will grow toxic nightshade just as readily as it grows nourishing corn. It applies the exact same vigorous energy to cultivating your deepest anxieties as it does to your ambitions. The father of American psychology, William James, considered this impartial, autonomic reservoir to be the most significant psychological discovery of his era. Because the subconscious is a relentless growth engine, much of our chronic suffering is self-inflicted. We accidentally plant toxic seeds by allowing unchecked worry and negative assumptions to take root in the soil. If the engine room just follows orders, the primary obstacle to improving your life is simply getting the orders past the watchman. Your argumentative conscious mind instinctively rejects new, positive ideas because they conflict with your current limitations. To bypass this resistance, you have to utilize the mind's mechanical loophole, the sleepy, drowsy state. This occurs naturally twice a day, immediately before falling asleep and right after waking up. This chart shows what happens to brainwave activity as we relax. During this drowsy physiological shift, The rigid barrier of conscious resistance lowers completely, and the negative imagery that usually neutralizes our goals fades away. Historical figures utilized this lowered resistance to produce massive creative output. Mark Twain claimed he never worked a day in his life, attributing his prolific writing to his ability to tap into this exact subconscious reservoir. The author Robert Louis Stevenson applied this directly. When his bank account was low, he would intentionally task his subconscious with evolving a marketable thriller, giving his mind narrative problems to solve right before he drifted off to sleep. Sleep is not a passive biological shutdown. It is the optimal, daily window for actively programming the most powerful creative engine in the human body. The method for using this window is called disciplined imagination. Instead of grinding through the grueling details of how to solve a problem, you bypass the middle steps entirely and focus your attention solely on the endpoint. This is the passing over technique. You hand your request to the deeper mind with absolute trust. You release the idea with the same passive, unquestioning certainty a farmer has when dropping a seed into the earth. You cannot force the seed to grow. The subconscious remains completely deaf to intellectual logic or forced willpower. It operates entirely on the subjective language of feeling. When you physically generate the feeling of the desired outcome, capturing the joy or peace of the solution, that internal state is the direct trigger. The subconscious accepts the feeling as a present reality and immediately begins aligning external circumstances to match it. True mastery of life does not require violently fighting the external world. It comes from quietly guarding the gates of your conscious mind, planting poetic seeds and surrendering to the effortless power working beneath the surface.